All right, so hey guys, so welcome to this channel, and in this video we are going to talk about relative locators. So yesterday we have gone through various types of locators in the last video, right? So in this one we are going to discuss about the relative locators. So relative locators are locators which are also called as friendly locators. Basically, it was introduced in Selenium 4, and these locators are helpful when it is not easy to construct located for the desired element. But it is easy to describe, especially where the element is in relation to an element that does not have an easily constructed locator. So basically, we'll take this example to understand this relative locator. How it works is let's say we have these two text box, right? Email address and the password text box, right? So we have the web element identified for this email address, and with respect to this, so we are targeting to hit on this password text box, right? We are targeting to enter any value inside this password text box. So using this relative locators, this provides actually some of the methods with by dot tag name, dot near, above, below. All these locators methods are available. So various relative locators that are available are like above any element. We have this relative locators, and we have to use this with method by dot tag name, and whatever the tag name of the element is, and then we have to use dot above by dot id password, right? Like that we are using to identify. So below is below any web element, we are targeting to perform some action. Then we have left off. So left off is to left of. This is the method we are using to identify any web element. Right off. Similarly, we have this near. Then we have changing relative locators. So basically all these locators we have. So what we'll do is we'll go to Eclipse and try to configure this, right? So in the Eclipse, we have this already. I have added this Selenium 4 as part of Selenium 4.9.1, and I'm using WebDriver Manager to manage the executables automatically. So this is like 5.3.2, and already I have added this Selenium 4 over here, as you can see, 4.9.1, and I have created this relative locator class, right? And over here I have added the initial steps to launch the browser, right? So what I will do is I'll try to make use of this uh, website. In the previous example we used this source demo website, right? So same website we are going to use in this case as well. So just give me a second. So if I take you to this source demo, so this is username text field, right? And this password text field, and then we have this login button. So in order to understand our example for relative locators, so we'll identify the web element for this username field, and using this username field, we'll try to perform this end keys on this password text box, right? So this is below this username, so we'll be using method dot below. Similarly, if we identify the password text box element, and with this reference we can enter the element in the username field, right? So let us directly go to the Eclipse and try to understand how it works. So basically, I'm using this sort of demo website to understand this example. So firstly, I'll just try to identify the web element for username. So I'll say driver.find or find element by dot id, and let me get the ID of this username field. So let me inspect it. So ID is like your username, and if I pass in this ID value over here, and I'll just capture this web element because I'll be needing it in the next method. So this is username field, right? And what I'll do is say driver dot find element with by dot tag name. What is the tag name for the element that we are targeting, right? So we are targeting to enter the value inside the text box, so that it's a password field, right? So that has also got the tag name as input. So we can directly say that tag name as input, and that is below. That is below. So once you hit like a control space here on the keyboard, you will be able to see all these methods that is provided in Selenium 4, right? You can see above web element by locator, some below, and the nearby near web element. So all these are newly added inside Selenium 4. And this was not part of like Selenium 3. This has been added recently in the Selenium 4. Then we have to the left of to right of. Then we have other like existing various methods like class name, CSS selector, ID, link text, partial link text, XPath, all those are already there, right? So in addition to the existing ones, like the traditional locator strategies, we have all these friendly locators of the new locators, right? So relative locators are part of this. So what I'll do is say I'll select dot below, and I'll just pass this username field over here. And since this is a text box, so we can perform like send keys over here. So let me perform send keys, and this username is standard user. All right, so let me try to test it till here. So let me quickly run this. All right, so it has performed the entry inside the password field, right? So it is working as expected. So now let us try to interact with the username text box with respect to like password text box. So what I will do is like I'll just repeat this step, right? So I'll just make some minor code changes over here. So I'll just say this is for password text box, and I'll just copy this, and this is for username text box, right? And here, since we are taking the reference of password text field, so let me check the ID for password text box. So password is ID is password here, and let me pass this ID as password. Let me try to put in here, and password is this, I guess. Let me double check. Okay, it's correct. So over here, like we have identified this uh, password text box, and using this, we are trying to enter the value inside this username text field, right? So, all right, so what we can do is this should be above, right? So this is for interacting with username. So username is this, and password is this. And let me quickly run and see how it behaves. So it has entered the password, it has entered the username. All right, so it is working fine. Let's go back to the Eclipse. And now let us try to perform. Right. So I'll just try to use the same piece of code here with little code changes, right? So I'll just copy this. So as you can see on the UI, right? As you can see over here on the UI, this login button is below this password text box, right? So we'll be using this like strategies, relative strategies to identify the login button and interact with this login button using the XPath or locator for this password, right? This is for password. Already we have the password field. So let me comment out this one as this is not required since we have already captured this uh, element for the password field, right? And let me remove this comment from here. And what I can do is like instead of performing send keys, we'll be doing click operation here, right? Since this is a login button and this is not above, this is below the password field. And let me quickly check the tag for this login button. All right, so the tag name that you can see over here is input itself, so we do not have to make any change. So basically we are identifying this password text box and using this web element we are targeting to hit on this login button, right? Using the strategies provided by Selenium 4 with relative locators. So I think this should be good. Driver.find element with by.tag name input below the password field, and it should work. So let me quickly run this. It should now enter the username and password and then hit on this login button. And it should perform the login. And yes, it worked fine. So it is able to perform the login and the test case is passed. All right, so it is working fine now. So similarly, we have like various other approaches here, right? So like we have various approaches like to left off, to right off. Then we have above and below already we have seen. Then we have left off and right off. So let's say some of the web element is present like this. So let me take this example over here. So this is the web element we are able to identify, and we are having problem in identifying the web element for this password for all users label, right? So we can make use of to write off, right? To write off, since we are targeting to interact with this, we can use to write off. And similarly, if we are able to identify the web element for this, and we can make use of to left off. Also, like if you're targeting to interact with any web element using this near method, right? So it has some limitation, like it says like the relative positioning is not obvious or varies based on window size. You can use the near method to identify an element that is at most at 50 pixel away from the provided locator, right? So you can make use of this near locator and you can work in the similar approach. The next thing that is provided in Selenium 4 as part of like relative locator is like chaining relative locators. So we can add like multiple relative locators and we can chain them, right? So we here in the example you can see like they have added using with by dot tag name button dot below email, and then it is to write of id id as cancel. So you can do this chaining as well. So this is possible. So I think we are done. So all right, so that's all in this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe. Bye. Take care.